The evidence that shocked investigators came from beneath their feet in the most unexpected way possible. When law enforcement officials arrived at Antonio Brown's Florida mansion with search warrants, they expected to find the usual suspects of evidence in plain sight. But what they discovered hidden beneath the floors of one of football's most controversial figures would leave even veteran detectives struggling to comprehend the scope of what they were dealing with. The moment those floorboards came up, everything changed. The investigation that started as routine police work suddenly became something that would make headlines across the nation and forever alter how we view the dark secrets that wealth and fame can hide. Antonio Brown's legal troubles have been well documented throughout his career, spanning from his time as an elite NFL receiver to his current post-football controversies. The former Pittsburgh Steelers, Oakland Raiders, New England Patriots, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers star has faced numerous allegations and legal challenges that have overshadowed his athletic achievements. Born in 1988, Brown emerged from Central Michigan University to become one of the most productive wide receivers in NFL history, earning 7 Pro Bowl selections and 4 first-team All-Pro honors during his prime years with Pittsburgh. His career statistics include over 12,000 receiving yards and 88 touchdowns, placing him among the most successful receivers of his generation. However, Brown's off-field behavior has consistently drawn negative attention and legal scrutiny. His career has been marked by conflicts with teammates, coaches, and team management, leading to his departure from multiple NFL organizations. The pattern of controversial behavior includes social media outbursts, missed team activities, and various legal allegations that have made him one of the most polarizing figures in professional sports. Questions arise about what law enforcement might discover when conducting thorough investigations into properties owned by individuals with such extensive histories of legal complications. Brown's Florida mansion, purchased during his peak earning years in the NFL, represents the type of luxury property that often attracts law enforcement attention during investigations involving high-profile individuals. The property, located in an exclusive area known for celebrity residence, features the kind of elaborate architectural elements and custom modifications that wealthy athletes often install for privacy and entertainment purposes. Real estate records show that Brown invested heavily in property modifications and improvements during his ownership, creating spaces designed for maximum privacy and exclusive entertainment. The implications could suggest that properties owned by controversial celebrities might contain evidence or features that are not immediately apparent to casual observers. Legal experts note that thorough property searches often reveal unexpected discoveries when investigators have sufficient legal authority to examine all areas of elaborate estates. One has to wonder what circumstances might lead law enforcement to conduct such extensive searches that would include examining structural elements like flooring in celebrity properties. Law enforcement procedures for searching elaborate properties require specialized techniques and equipment, particularly when investigations suggest that evidence might be concealed in unusual locations. Federal and state investigators are trained to recognize signs that property modifications might be designed to hide evidence rather than serve legitimate architectural or design purposes. The process of examining floors, walls, and other structural elements requires careful documentation and often involves specialists who understand construction techniques that might be used to create hidden spaces. Professional investigators note that wealthy individuals sometimes invest in property modifications that go beyond typical luxury amenities to include features designed for maximum privacy or security. These modifications can include reinforced areas, specialized storage spaces, and structural elements that might not be apparent during standard property inspections. Questions arise about what specific circumstances might prompt investigators to examine flooring and other structural elements during property searches. The legal authority required for such extensive property searches typically involves detailed warrant applications that specify the types of evidence being sought and the areas of properties that investigators believe might contain relevant materials. Courts generally require substantial probable cause before authorizing searches that involve damaging or removing structural elements from properties, making any such investigation particularly significant from a legal perspective. Antonio Brown's financial situation has been the subject of extensive media coverage and legal proceedings throughout his career. Despite earning tens of millions of dollars during his NFL career, Brown has faced various financial challenges including lawsuits, settlements, and disputes over contracts and endorsement deals. His peak earning years included salary and bonus payments exceeding $15 million annually, along with endorsement deals and appearance fees that substantially increased his total income. The lifestyle associated with such earnings typically includes investments in luxury real estate, high-end vehicles, jewelry, and other assets that represent both personal enjoyment and potential stores of value. However, the financial pressures created by legal fees, settlements, and reduced earning potential following his departure from the NFL have created situations where asset management and financial planning become crucial considerations. Legal experts wonder whether financial pressures might influence how high-profile individuals manage their assets, and whether concerns about potential legal liabilities might affect decisions about property modifications or asset storage. The implications could suggest that individuals facing ongoing legal challenges might make decisions about asset management that differ from typical luxury property ownership patterns. The real estate market for celebrity properties often involves unique considerations related to privacy, security, and resale value that can influence both purchase decisions and property modifications. Properties owned by controversial public figures may face additional scrutiny from various sources, including media attention, legal investigations, and potential future buyers who might be concerned about the property's history. Brown's property portfolio has included multiple residences in different states, reflecting both his professional football career requirements and personal preferences for luxury accommodations. The management of multiple high-value properties creates complex financial and legal considerations, particularly when properties are modified with custom features or used for entertainment purposes that might attract regulatory or law enforcement attention. The entertainment industry culture surrounding professional athletes often includes gatherings and events at private residences that require specialized spaces and privacy features. These activities, while often legal and legitimate, can create situations where property owners invest in modifications designed to ensure guest privacy and prevent external observation of private activities. Questions arise about how property modifications intended for legitimate privacy and entertainment purposes might be interpreted differently when properties become subjects of law enforcement investigations. The situation leaves room for speculation about whether features designed for legal purposes might be viewed suspiciously when discovered during searches related to other alleged activities. Professional athletes frequently invest in home security systems and architectural modifications designed to protect their families and assets from the unique risks associated with celebrity status. These modifications can include reinforced areas, surveillance systems, and specialized storage for valuable items that might not be apparent to visitors, or even routine maintenance personnel. The culture of professional sports includes traditions of privacy and discretion that extend to personal residences and private gatherings. Athletes often seek to create spaces where they can relax and entertain without the constant scrutiny that accompanies their public lives, leading to investments in property features that maximize privacy and security. Legal experts note that the line between legitimate privacy measures and potentially suspicious modifications can become important when properties are subject to law enforcement investigation. The interpretation of property features often depends on the context of the investigation and the specific evidence that investigators are seeking. The process of obtaining search warrants for celebrity properties requires law enforcement to present compelling evidence to courts that criminal activity is likely to be found at specific locations. The standards for authorizing searches that involve potential property damage are particularly high, requiring detailed justification for the investigative techniques being requested. Federal and state courts have established precedents regarding the scope of property searches and the types of investigative techniques that are appropriate for different types of criminal investigations. These precedents generally require that investigative methods be proportional to the severity of alleged crimes and the likelihood that evidence will be found through specific search techniques. The legal protections for property owners remain in effect even when searches are authorized, requiring investigators to minimize unnecessary damage and document all activities conducted during searches. Property owners have rights to legal representation during searches and can challenge the scope or methods of investigations through court proceedings. Questions arise about what types of evidence or suspicious circumstances might justify the extensive investigative techniques that would include removing flooring or examining structural elements of properties. The implications could suggest that such searches typically occur only when there is substantial evidence suggesting that important materials are concealed in unusual locations. The relationship between celebrity status and law enforcement attention creates unique dynamics that affect both the conduct of investigations and public perception of criminal justice proceedings. High-profile individuals often face increased scrutiny from multiple sources, including media coverage that can influence both legal proceedings and public opinion. The The financial resources available to wealthy defendants typically allow for sophisticated legal representation that can challenge investigative techniques and evidence collection methods. This legal representation often includes experts who can examine the procedures used in property searches and question whether appropriate standards were followed throughout investigations. Media coverage of celebrity legal cases often focuses on dramatic elements rather than technical legal procedures, creating public narratives that may not accurately reflect the actual evidence or legal standards involved in specific cases. The speculation surrounding celebrity investigations can influence public perception, regardless of actual legal outcomes. Antonio Brown's history of social media activity and public statements has created additional complications for legal proceedings involving his various controversies. His tendency to make public statements about legal matters has sometimes created challenges for his legal representation and provided additional material for law enforcement investigations. The impact of social media on criminal investigations has become increasingly important, as investigators can monitor public statements and activities that might be relevant to ongoing cases. Celebrities who maintain active social media presences often provide information that can be used in legal proceedings, whether intentionally or inadvertently. Legal experts wonder whether the modern celebrity culture of social media transparency might affect how investigations are conducted, and whether public statements might influence the scope or direction of law enforcement activities. The situation leaves room for speculation about whether social media activity might provide leads that influence investigative techniques. The broader implications for celebrity accountability in the criminal justice system include questions about whether wealth and fame provide advantages or disadvantages during law enforcement investigations. The increased media attention surrounding celebrity cases can create both advantages and challenges for all parties involved in legal proceedings. The precedents established through high-profile criminal cases often influence how similar investigations are conducted and how courts interpret the balance between individual rights and law enforcement needs. The outcomes of celebrity cases can affect legal standards that apply to all citizens in similar circumstances. As investigations involving high-profile individuals continue to evolve, questions remain about how law enforcement agencies balance the need for thorough investigations with respect for individual rights and due process protections. The techniques used in celebrity cases often receive additional scrutiny that can influence the development of investigative standards and legal precedents. The resolution of complex investigations involving property searches and potential evidence concealment typically requires careful analysis of both the methods used by investigators and the evidence discovered through those methods. Legal experts note that the admissibility of evidence often depends as much on how it was obtained as on what was actually found during searches. One has to wonder what the ultimate outcome of such investigations might reveal about the intersection of celebrity culture, financial pressures, and criminal justice proceedings. The implications could suggest that the unique circumstances surrounding celebrity legal cases continue to provide important lessons about accountability, investigation techniques, and the equal application of legal standards regardless of wealth or fame. If you're as shocked by these investigative developments as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about the scope of celebrity investigations and whether wealth should affect how law enforcement conducts searches? Do you believe that extensive property modifications by celebrities deserve extra scrutiny, or should privacy rights be the same for everyone? We want to hear your perspective on how criminal investigations should balance thoroughness with individual rights. Then, hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of high-profile legal cases and the complex world of celebrity accountability. Thanks for watching.